Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you the full, detailed summary of the legendary film Forrest Gump. It's a touching and inspiring story that leaves no one indifferent. If you've been wanting to refresh the plot in your memory or never got the chance to watch the movie, this video is for you. Make yourself comfortable. It's going to be a good one. Part 1. The beginning of Forrest's life. The film begins with a feather slowly drifting down to the ground, eventually picked up by a man sitting on a bench at a bus stop. This man is Forrest Gump. He begins telling his life story to random people waiting for the bus. Forrest says he was born in the small town of Greenbow, Alabama. From a young age, he was different from other children. He had a low IQ, 75, which led people to call him slow. He also had spine issues and had to wear special metal braces on his legs to straighten his back. Forrest's mother, played by Sally Field, is a smart, strong, and determined woman. She refused to let his mental challenges stop him from living a normal life. She insisted that he be accepted into a regular school and even used some unconventional methods to convince the principal. Forrest grew up mostly alone, as other kids bullied him. But one day on the school bus, he met a girl named Jenny Curran, the only one who treated him kindly.
Well, you're gonna sit down, aren't you? What's wrong with your legs?
I'm nothing at all, thank you. My legs are just fine and dandy.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Forrest Gump.
From that day on, we was always together. Jenny and me was like peas and carrots.
From that moment on, Jenny became his one true friend and the most important person in his life. As a child, Forrest was often attacked and picked on. But one day when some boys started throwing rocks at him, Jenny shouted, "Run, Forrest, run!" And then something amazing happened. He ran so fast that the braces flew off his legs. From that point on, Forrest realized he had an incredible gift: extraordinary speed. He started running everywhere and eventually joined the school football team, becoming a star because of his speed. This is how Forrest's incredible journey through life begins, spanning decades, eras, historical events, and the lives of people he meets along the way. And all of it is seen through the eyes of a naive but kind and sincere man. Part 2. College, the Army, and the Vietnam War. Thanks to his running talent, Forrest earns an athletic scholarship and is accepted into the University of Alabama. There he becomes part of the football team and even meets President John F. Kennedy. One of many times Forrest, by sheer chance, finds himself alongside great historical figures. After graduating from college, Forrest joins the Army without hesitation. He meets Benjamin Buford Blue, whom everyone calls Bubba. Bubba is a simple guy with a big dream to start a shrimping business. He and Forrest quickly become close friends. Bubba tells Forrest everything there is to know about the shrimping industry, and Forrest promises that they'll start a company together after the war. Forrest and Bubba are sent to Vietnam, where they take part in combat operations. During one mission, their unit is ambushed. Many soldiers are killed, including Bubba. Before he dies, Bubba once again mentions the shrimp business, and Forrest holds on to his friend's dream. In a moment of bravery, Forrest risks his life to save many of his fellow soldiers, including his commanding officer, Lieutenant Dan Taylor. Lieutenant Dan loses both of his legs and believes his life is over. He's furious that Forrest saved him, as he had hoped to die in battle like his ancestors. But Forrest couldn't leave him behind. After the war, Forrest is awarded the Medal of Honor and once again finds himself meeting the president, this time Lyndon B. Johnson. Like many moments in the film, this one is presented with a light, ironic tone. Forrest doesn't truly grasp the significance of these events, yet he ends up at the center of them, simply going with the flow. Back in the U.S., Forrest isn't sure what to do next. He accidentally becomes involved in an anti-war rally at the Lincoln Memorial, where, unexpectedly, he reunites with Jenny, now an adult, changed by life, but still just as vulnerable.
What's your name, man?
My name is Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump!
Jenny!
Part 3. Life after the war. Shrimp and running across the country. After a brief emotional reunion at the anti-war rally, Jenny once again disappears from Forrest's life. He returns to his quiet routines and discovers a new passion: playing ping pong. Almost by accident, he becomes incredibly good at it. Before long, he's a national champion, representing the U.S. in international competitions, including a trip to China, a humorous nod to the real-life ping-pong diplomacy of the Cold War era. After his sports career winds down, Forrest returns home, and remembering his promise to Bubba, decides to start a shrimping business. At first, he struggles. He buys a boat and heads out to sea on his own, but barely catches anything. Everything changes when a hurricane strikes the region, destroying nearly the entire shrimping fleet, except Forrest's boat. Suddenly, he becomes the only major shrimp supplier in the area and makes a fortune. To his surprise, Lieutenant Dan shows up and keeps his word. He joins Forrest as a business partner. Slowly, Dan begins to rebuild his life. Despite having lost his legs, he starts to find meaning again and even opens up spiritually. One pivotal moment comes during the storm, where Dan, high on the mast, seems to wrestle with God himself, shouting into the wind and rain. After surviving it, he finds peace. Forrest, staying true to his values, gives a large share of his profits to Bubba's family, fulfilling his promise to his fallen friend. After his mother's death, she leaves him the house. Forrest finds himself alone again. Then one day, Jenny returns. They spend time together, and Forrest asks her to marry him. She declines. One night, without warning, she leaves again. Heartbroken and unsure how to deal with his emotions, Forrest starts to run. He simply gets up and begins running, first to the end of his street, then out of town, and eventually across the entire country. What begins as a personal escape becomes something bigger. As he runs back and forth across America for 3.5 years, strangers begin to join him, inspired by his seemingly spiritual journey. But Forrest insists, "I just felt like running." His run becomes a national phenomenon, turning him into a symbol of endurance, simplicity, and sincerity. Then one day he suddenly stops and says, "I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now." And so he does. Part 4, Reunion with Jenny and the Ending. After finishing his long run, Forrest returns home. Sometime later, he receives a letter from Jenny asking him to come visit her in Savannah. This moment brings the film full circle. It's the framing device for the story. Forrest, sitting on a bench at a bus stop, telling his life story to strangers as he waits for the right bus to take him to her. When he learns her house is just a few blocks away, he simply gets up and runs there. Forrest and Jenny finally reunite. She's living alone and appears calm and at peace. She gives Forrest stunning news. They have a son, and his name is Forrest Jr. Forrest is overwhelmed, especially when he hesitantly asks, "Is he smart? Or is he like me?" Jenny gently reassures him that their son is smart and kind. Forrest begins spending time with his son, cherishing every moment. It becomes one of the happiest and most meaningful periods of his life. But Jenny soon confesses that she is seriously ill. The doctors aren't sure exactly what it is, but it's heavily implied to be HIV/AIDS, though never stated directly in the film. She asks Forrest to take care of their son, and Forrest proposes to her. This time, Jenny says yes, and they have a simple wedding in front of Forrest's home. Lieutenant Dan arrives for the wedding, now with prosthetic legs and a fiancée of his own. He's transformed, full of life and peace, representing a journey of healing, acceptance, and personal growth. Not long after the wedding, Jenny passes away, and Forrest is left a widower raising their young son. He buries her under the tree where they played as children and speaks to her in one of the most heartfelt scenes in the film, sharing how much he misses her and how everything feels different without her. In the final scene, young Forrest Jr. boards the school bus. He says, "Bye, Daddy," and Forrest sits quietly under the tree, the very place where everything began. A gentle breeze lifts a feather into the sky, the same feather that opened the film, symbolizing fate, the randomness of life, and its quiet beauty. Conclusion. Forrest Gump is a story about how a man with a simple heart and sincere soul, often unaware of his impact, becomes a part of great historical events and touches the lives of everyone around him. He wasn't extraordinary in the usual sense, but his life was filled with love, loyalty, kindness, and honesty, qualities that are rare and deeply needed in today's world. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let me know in the comments which movie you'd like to hear about next. See you soon.